Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Ishwari Radha Mataji, Hare Krishna, Sonia Mataji. Thank you so much for joining the call here. And Sonia is in San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge. Awesome. So then we are joined on Facebook by Bhagavad-gita Dasi and Achyuta-radhe Mataji. Thank you so much. Our old faithfuls are always there on every call. Fantastic. It requires taste for Krishna. And Revati Devi is also joining us. Please accept my humble obeisances. So we should get started because we have a short class today being Sunday, and I'll have to stop at like 7 definitely today because there's some glitches with another class that I have to go to, and I can't be let in if I go late. They're using a new technology, and people have to be let in as much as you have to be let in into this particular call. So now, since Priyanka has joined us, so we will get started with the call. If you can confirm that you can read the Vigyapti Panchika prayers.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. So we will just get started over here with the Vigyapti Panchika prayers here. And let's see if I'm recording the call. Yes, I am. Om Agyanitimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Matsamo Nasti Papatma Naparadhi Chakaschana Parihare Pilajame Kim Bhruve Purushottama Yuvatinam Yata Yuni Yunam Cha Yuvato Yatha Manobhi Ramate Tadman Manome Ramatam Tvai Bhumau Skalitapadanam Bhumireva Valambanam Tvai Jata Paradhanam Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tvamaham Sada Twadiyam Niti Janatu Govindo Mam Tvaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanatheshe Karunamritavahini Kripaya Nij Padabja Dasyam Mayam Pradiyatam. Okay, so let's set the reading order for today. And I think our scribe has joined us. No, okay, I see Khyati Mataji. Khyati Mataji maybe is already building it up here.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yes, Mataji, I'm
Perfect.
typing.
Awesome. Let's get started
So,
here.
Mataji, you will be able to read today, right?
Soni?
Yes, Mataji, I can read. Thank you.
On Sunday, she's able to read. I noticed that pattern.
Thank you, Mataji.
Welcome, Namaste, Mataji. Dandavat pranams.
So right now, I think we have Ishwari Radhika Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, Suruchi Mataji, Deepal Bhabhi, and then my turn, and then Shraddha Mataji.
All righty.
And I will modify as people join.
We go. Awesome. And are you going to share it also with us?
Yes, I'm just typing it up.
Okay, perfect. And who is going to read it?
Ishwari Radhika Mataji.
O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the minds of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the minds of young men take pleasure in a young woman, kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone.
Scrolling up for the next reader.
Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you.
O Shrimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants.
O Srimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavana, you are a river flowing with the nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your lotus feet.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Sriyash Prabhu, good to have you here. Okay, so let's get going to the reflections part. Those of you watching us on Facebook, which now includes Rajiv Bansal Prabhu also, please share your reflections. And if you don't have any reflections, then please type HK for Hare Krishna so that I know that you're there. And back to the Zoom here. Reflection time, the fantastic time of the day.
Please let my mind take... Go ahead, Mataji.
No, it's okay, Mataji.
Please let my mind take pleasure in you alone.
Okay, and what happens if the mind takes pleasure in something else?
It gets diverted and gets entangled, and, you know,
And
karma
thoroughly
bandha.
messed up.
All messed up.
Okay, yeah, good.
Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu.
All right, so you don't want to get thoroughly messed up, right? So you go to Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel, Mataji, that I can't do anything. I have to take Sharanam, and he has to help me.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. The sooner we get that realization, the better it is.
Manome Ramtam Tvai.
Manu me ramtam tvai. Where else can the Manu get ramatam?
Nothing. A lot of other things, Mataji.
Give me one.
Like maybe cooking, keep cooking.
But if you're cooking for Krishna, what's wrong?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. But
Right, yeah. So the focus should not be as long as focus is Krishna, then even dabbling in the material world is okay. Yeah. What else?
In Bruve Purushottama, how can I describe my shame?
In Bruve, yeah, what do I say, right? Yeah, Bruve is to speak, is to say something. I was looking at the word meaning that you have done. You had a question mark. Abravi, right? Raja Vachinam Abravi. Please read that in the first verse, right? Dristvatu Panduvanikam Vyunam Duryodhana Sada Acharya Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravit. Abravit means he said. So Bhruve means, to speak something. Okay, what came Bhruve? What will I speak? All right. What else? Are you all exhausted from the Vigyapti Panchaka prayers? And Dilip Bhai Prabhu, welcome for joining us. Shraddha-devi Dasi says, Manome Ramatam Tvai. Achutarade says, Dasyam Mahyam Pradiyatam. She took that one today. And welcome Vijay Lakshmi Mataji for joining us. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranams. And our dear Varshana Mataji said that she won't be able to make it to the call today. So we're going to miss. And also, yeah, Garima Mataji is dicey whether she can join us or not. And her son had very high fever last night. So please pray for our dear Arjun, who attends our classes in his own sweet way. Okay, so let's get started here with sharing the screen. And if somebody can confirm, and maybe Kathy, you can read the reading order now one more time.
You can share as well.
Or whoever is doing it. Oh, you can share it. Fantastic. Yes, please.
Sorry, I'm late. But...
No problem. Yeah, I forgot. Well, although you are late, but I had given you privileges the first thing that I did as soon as I got into Zoom. So anyway, yeah, go ahead. I can see it. The contents of Gita summarized, right? Okay. And who's going to go and read that now? Who was the last person who read?
I think it was Mataji. So now it is my turn to read.
Okay, Kathy, and then Suyash, and then okay,
yeah.
Go ahead. That way. Okay.
So content of Gita summarized. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. Oh, sorry, is Neeral Prabhu there?
No, Prabhu, you go ahead.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weaknesses of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Nor do I know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Text 9. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in future shall any of us cease to be.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance is due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. This arises from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Text 15. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not, nor is slain. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primal. He is not slain when the body is slain.
O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Text 23. This soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed.
One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation?
Text 29. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after reading about him, cannot understand him at all. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Text 31. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, You should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
Text 37. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
Yam hina vayate ayanti ete purusham purushar sabha samadukha sukham dhiryam somartaya martatvaya kalpate.
Good attempt. Go ahead. Who gives us an analysis?
Yam, one to whom. Hi, certainly. Na,
So it is he. H-I, he, yeah.
he. Certainly. Na, never. Vyatyanti are distressing. Ite, all these. Purusham, to a person. Purusharabha, O best among men. Unaltered. Sama, unaltered. Dukha, in distress. Sukham, and happiness. Dhiryam, patient. Saha, he. Armar, Amartatva,
Amritatvaya.
Amritatvaya, for liberation. Kalpate is considered eligible.
Translation. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady both is certainly eligible for liberation.
Anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. In the Varnashrama institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order, sannyasa, is a painstaking situation. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts the sannyasa order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationships to give up the connection of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duties at Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. Next person can read.
Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24, and his dependents, young wife as well as old mother, had no one else to look after them. Yet for a higher cause, he took sannyas and was ready in the discharge of higher duties. That is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. Okay, let's go into the reflections now. And stop sharing.
It is said here, it is tough to sever relationships with wife and son. So are women not allowed to take sannyas?
Women are not allowed to take sannyas, yeah. Yeah. So what used to happen is that during the time when the Varnashram Dharma, by the way, I have to tell you, I just got the message that class is cancelled for today. So we can stay on for a little longer here. So let me know however long you want me to go. So during the days when the Varnashram Dharmas were followed properly, at that time there's Vanprastha. So you're supposed to go to the forest, right? And you would be accompanied by the wife. So wife would also go to Vanprastha with the husband. And then when the time came for the husband to move on to the next stage, which is sannyasa, then the woman would come back and live with the son, like that. Yeah. So women will attain her liberation through her own path. So sometimes you see that, and there are so many instances where you see that there was a very, for example, in the case of Dhruv Maharaj, right? So Dhruv Maharaj did intense austerity and intense devotional service, and he sees Krishna. And then afterwards, Krishna says, no, you have to, in the form of Prishni-garbha. And then Krishna says that, okay, you have to go back and rule. And he rules for about 35,000 years. And then after that, when it's time for him to leave and go, he leaves. And then when the chariot comes to take him, and then at that time, he's suddenly like, oh, what about my mother? And then he looks and he sees that his mother has also left the body, and he's in the spiritual body sitting in another aeroplane, and she's also headed in the same direction. So you see, although we don't hear in Srimad Bhagavatam as to how much of austerity that she did, right, in her life, but women will get a share of the austerities that the sons will perform or the husband will perform and things like that, and their duty is to serve them like that. So from there, just serving the people in the family, they get the credits, whatever is required to go back to Godhead, like that. Of course, you should be serving a husband who is and a son who is in devotional service, right? But as you know, that this is Kali Yuga, everything is a complete hodgepodge. We don't even know who's a woman and who's a man now, right? Because women do everything that men do everything that women are typically doing. So those lines have gone now. But the ideal way is that. And then we will have deviations also. In some situations, the wife just hang on and they die with the husband. Like Prithu Maharaj's wife Archie, she lives with him like that. But general rule is that the women don't take sannyas. And nowadays in Kali Yuga, even men are told not to take sannyas as a matter of just that you're supposed to do that. And Vanaprastha also, where are the forests now? When we have cut all the forests, right? Where can anybody go and live, right? And our bodies are not like that. We are accustomed to so much of comforts that, like taking shower with cold water, we can't even do in our home, right? Where we can come out from the shower and switch on the heater and say like that. We can't do that. So
but Mataji, I think sannyasa is for it's a mental state, right? Yes, physical comfort definitely, but it's to be able to renounce something is a mental state. And men and women both, I mean, any soul who is endeavoring should do it rather than
very good. Yes, yeah, very good point. Very good point. And so we are talking about from the the physical and the gross aspects of it. That women will not put on clothes and say that, or I'm not going to wear clothes and things like that. That some sannyasis do. We will do that. An interesting point that comes up here, and you said that you use the word sannyas and renounce in the same sentence, right? And so what is sannyas and how is that different from renunciation? And that point that you brought up will support your statement of that it's a mental state, right? So what do you think could be the difference between renunciation and sannyas?
Renunciation is giving up the fruits of the results, and sannyas is the official process that that is recognized in the social order.
In the social order, right? So sannyas is a social order which is meant for your spiritual upliftment. You go, there are certain steps that you will take, and over there are rules men can take, women can't take, and things like that, right? So sannyas is when you give up your material desires. So you see, giving up the material desire is a state of the mind, right? So anybody can do it. There's nothing that is preventing a woman from taking some mental sannyas You can give up your material desires like that, right? And renunciation is even more difficult. Is that you forgo the results. So I can give up my material desires, but I can have spiritual desires, right? But then if I have spiritual desires, there will be some results to that, whether I'll achieve my desires, whether I'll not achieve my desires. And renunciation is that you don't even bother whether you're going to achieve it or not. I'm doing devotional service. It doesn't matter whether I'm going to go back to Golok Vrindavan or not. It doesn't matter my chanting is good or bad. I'm going to still sit and chant. If it's bad, I'm not going to abandon the process. I'll continue to do that like that. So renunciation again is a state of mind. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says, that it doesn't matter where I go. I just want to do devotional service to you in whichever planet you send me to, like that. Because he saw that, but he saw when Krishna is testing him, and Narasimha is testing him, and he says, ask for me any material benedictions that you want, I'll give it to you. And then he says that, I have seen my Lord just now, that my father who ruled everything, right? And if he just raised one eyebrow, people used to just scamper. They were so scared of him. Just by raising the eyebrow, he was able to get so much done. And you just finished with harm like that, You tear him open and he took out his intestines. That's material world, It can come to an end like that. So I don't want any of that. Giving up, yes, that's sannyas, giving up all material desires. And renunciation is results. I don't want the results. I don't care about the results. I align myself with Krishna's plans.
That is very pure state to attain, right? Like how many times we can even say even for little things, right?
Isn't it? It's mind-boggling.
And then in the world, like we always are taught, right? If we cannot give up our desires, Krishna says that try to engage so we spiritualize our desires, right? And even in that realm, you said that there would be consequences of that. So what is the difference between positive thinking and not expecting the results of what you want? Because sometimes if I say I have set this goal of distributing 2 Bhagavatam set, that is now it has become like my desire, and I pray to Krishna, right? And my positive thinking says that I will be able to distribute 2 sets, but again that is the results of the result of what I'm doing, right? I'm expecting a result. So is there a difference between positive thinking and not having expectation of particular outcome?
Exactly. Negative thinking in this case will be, I am no good. I have never distributed Srimad Bhagavatam sets. It's very difficult to distribute a Srimad Bhagavatam set. I've not even distributed a Bhagavad-gita. What to talk about distributing a Bhagavad set? I don't think I can do it. And with that consciousness, we are trying, and we're going to talk to a person and talk to him about Bhagavatam, try to sell it to him. But all this negativity is around us, right? So that is negative thinking. Positive thinking is that, I am going to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam sets. My spiritual master has said, like I've helped the corporate book distribution team with, their goals. And I always go to my spiritual master and ask for his blessings, because without his blessings, nothing can happen. And then when he gives me the blessings, I cling on to that blessings and say that now that my spiritual master has given me these blessings, it's going to happen. And I now have to work harder to make it happen. Like that. See, so it is positive thinking in the sense that I have my spiritual master has blessed me, it's going to happen, right? I'm not saying that, oh, I'm such a smart speaker, oh, I'm such a smart, I have all knowledge of Bhagavatam, I'm such a smart salesperson, I'll be able to do it like that, or things like that. No, you see, what I'm clinging to is the blessing of the spiritual master, and I'm getting my positive thoughts from there. And throughout the year when that happens, I'm just clinging to it for my life support, like that. However, you also know that I am giving it my best. So always give it your best. To everything that you do, we have to give our 100%. That should be an effort to give 100%. Now, in the process of trying to give 100%, we might fail sometimes, right? Like I might want to go to book distribution today, and I get up and I've got fever. I just can't go out, like that, right? So we also have to be cognizant that, okay, this is my desire. And there's a lot that goes, in this thinking process. So this is my desire. And then you're also saying that, Krishna, I do not know what your plan is. Because as we are doing devotional service, right? Suppose we meet our goals 1 year, we smash it. We do that second year, we smash it. We do that the third year, and we fail miserably, like that. So we always have to see that there is a spiritual aspect of whatever happens in our life. And maybe, and that's when we sit and think that, why did that happen? How was I? So my skills did not go down, right? Bhagavatam as a book did not change. They did not even change the price of the book. So what happened? Why were we not able to distribute the book this time? So we don't know. What was in Krishna's plan? What is in Krishna's plans? We never know. Maybe we were getting a little proud. We had a little streak of pride in us. Maybe we were thinking, I am something. And then Krishna will come and do something that will, shake us out of our pride, like that. So there's always Krishna's plans, and Krishna's plans are always good. At that time, it might happen, and we read here that dishonor is worse than death. We read in the Bhagavad-gita. So if you are dishonored, which is, you don't meet your goals, it's sort of a dishonor. But then, it might appear at that time this is the end of the world, Krishna is so cruel and things like that. But spiritually, we will advance. Spiritually, we have given up that anartha of pride, right? And we'll be more ground, and then we'll sit back and we'll think, oh yeah. And then the mind will remind you that, you remember, how you looked upon at that person who was struggling to do book distribution. And I was thinking in my head, oh, I'm this cool person, like that. So we don't know the results. And that is why whenever we are asking Krishna for anything, we always add that. So there's a positive thing that, I'm asking for Krishna, Krishna is merciful, I'm doing the right thing. It's what my spiritual master wants. It's what Prabhupada wants to do, is to distribute books. And I'm clear in my heart that I'm doing it because I want to benefit that other person, and not just my scores and my goals. It's a secondary thing. But the primary thing in book distribution is that we want to give this wonderful thing to other person. Right? So all these positive thoughts are going on, but then also we know that sometimes Krishna will make us fail for a certain purpose. And because of that, we are saying that, Krishna, if I fail at all, Krishna, then, just give me the strength to understand that this is your plan. So in the beginning itself, it is better that if I align my plan with Krishna, and we can always pray to Krishna like that, I'm getting this desire. Is this your plan? I'm having this desire. To me, I'm looking at the Shastras, I'm talking to my spiritual master, I'm talking to my other colleagues, I'm talking to elders. Everybody's saying this is good. But Krishna, is this your plan too? Always ask that question like that. Then it is not negative thinking, right? That negative is at the other extreme, like that.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So there were some questions. I think you all had some questions left on 2.15 that we were doing. Do you still remember? Garima was one I remember she had, but she's not with us today, is she? But Jaya has joined us. Yeah.
Mataji, I have one question.
Okay.
So yesterday, in the evening, yesterday in the morning lecture, Maharaj was talking about liberation, and how sometimes liberation actually means that it is a lot of time like tied to the people who are thinking of themselves to be God, and that flavor comes from the word liberation. But then in this verse, Krishna is talking about the liberation. So how do we what's the difference, or what Krishna is saying here, and it is how it is different from
their liberation and our liberation? Right? Liberation of the Mayavadis and impersonalists versus liberation of a bhakta. Right? Is that the summary? Is that the question?
So I mean, yeah, yesterday it was that bhakta is never asking for liberation, and he's always serving. So but here Krishna is telling that you will get liberated, and
he's saying that you're eligible for liberation, right? can you bring up, can you bring up 2.15? He says, Amrit Tatvaya Kalpate is what he's saying, right? So what is the meaning of Kalpate? See, Sanskrit, give me the meaning of Kalpate. It is considered eligible. Yeah. So now we can remove it so that I can see Priyanka. So Tat Amrit Tatvaya Kalpate means that he becomes eligible. He's not yet liberated, right? Now let's go back to steps to your main question, is that, what is liberation? How is this liberation different from that liberation of the other people, right? So liberate is that, what does liberate mean outside of what we have been reading here? What does liberate in general mean for us in the mundane world?
To become free.
You become free from something, right? You become free from something, like countries get liberated, right? You get liberated from a prison, you get liberated from a bad habit. So something had captured you, and then you got your freedom, right? Liberation means to get the freedom. And so when we are talking about the word in the spiritual terms, it's that you have gotten liberated from the body, because that's where we are imprisoned. The soul is imprisoned in the body. You can't walk out of it on your own unless you are an advanced yogi, like that. So there are 5 types of liberations that are mentioned. And the mention comes in Bhagavad-gita also purports, but then it is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so the first type of liberation, which Prabhupada says that the devotees don't think about, and that is known as Sayujya. Sayujya means to get connected. Yujya comes, yoga, the word yoga comes from yujya. Yujya means to get connected. So Sayujya liberation is when the soul is liberated, that is, comes out of this bodily concept, leaves this body, and then goes and merges into the impersonal Brahman feature, right? So Vadanti tat tattvadas tattvam yad brahma advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate. So God is available in 3 features, right? There's Brahman, there's Paramatma, and then there is Bhagwan. So Brahman is the impersonal feature of the Lord. And so those who are impersonalists, who don't believe in that God has got a form, so that is what you have meditated on, and that is what was your goal, that is what was your desire, to go and find that impersonal. So the soul, after leaving the body, will just go and hang in the Brahma Jyoti. So if this is all Brahma Jyoti, or you see over there, there's light coming from my window, if that is Brahma Jyoti, then the souls will just go and they will hang in that Brahma Jyoti. That is known as Sayujya liberation. And the devotees don't want it. And why the devotees don't want it is because you have just merged over there. You have not yet realized your spiritual body like that, completely. So you cannot do any service to the Lord. And the same happens with the Mayavadis also. The Mayavadis are actually thinking that I am God. Right? So, but the soul is designed inherently to serve Lord. So you're going against your nature. And so it's not going to last very long. Anything we try to do which is against our nature doesn't last very long. For example, it is my nature and my constitution to sit like this with my head up and my feet on the ground. If I try to mess around with this and I put my head below and I put my feet up, which some of the yoga poses do tell you to do that, but I can't sustain myself for very long, right? Yogis who have done penances like that are eulogized in the Shastras. They said, oh, they did it for a very long time. They were standing on one leg and things like that. But it's not a natural thing for me to do. So sooner or later, if I'm standing on one foot, then I would like to put down my other foot as well. And good news just came from Garima Mataji that her son is feeling much better now. So I just thought I'll share that news with you. So, and such is the nature of this, of the soul. So that is called Sayujya. And because your nature is to serve and you're not able to do it, and serving to the spiritual, to the Lord is the only thing that's going to give you happiness and complete and perfect happiness. And so too, because we are also enjoyers, that we want to enjoy, because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna says, I'm the supreme enjoyer. So we got a little tendency, a very small fraction, tiny infinitesimal fraction of Krishna's tendency to enjoy. So we want to enjoy and we can't get enjoyment. of any sort there, right? Because all the enjoyments that we know from our history is that we have enjoyed through our body, right? So what to do? So they will say, okay, that's the only enjoyment we remember. So we come down to get that enjoyment again. And the cycle continues. Upari ada, upari ada. You go up, you come down, you go up, you come down, like that. So, so that is the first type of liberation, which is known as the sayujya, that you go and get connected or merge into the Lord, right? And so they think that, you know, after they merge, everything will be fine. Mayavadi will become God, and the impersonal will just merge, and he'll be staying connected with the Lord. But it's not the case, because as Prabhupada says, that when you're merging, your merging is not like, you know, there was a glass and you poured it into a pitcher, and then now there's no distinction between the water in that glass and water in the pitcher. He's saying that the sayujya is like, you know, you were a fish swimming in a river, and then the river went and joined the ocean. But after you join the ocean, you're still the fish. Your identity is still there. You are in a bigger ocean, like that. So your tendencies, which were there as a fish to do certain things and enjoy certain things, are still there, but you're not getting it there, right? Because you have dropped the body of the fish, like the sort of like that. So that is sayujya. And then there are 4 other types of muktis that you get, which the devotees will go for, right? So it starts with, and not necessarily in that order, there is salokya liberation, salokya mukti. And salokya mukti is that you will go and live on the same planet as the Lord. So depending on the form of the Lord that you were worshipping, you will go to that particular Vaikuntha planet. So there are many, many Vaikuntha planets, and on each Vaikuntha planet, there is a deity that is worshipped over there. And so, for example, for those who worship Narsingham, they will go there. Those who worship Matsya Avatar will go to a Vaikuntha planet where the God is available in the Matsya Avatar form, and you'll continue your devotional service there. So Salokya. Then there is another one where it is Sarupya. Sarupya means that you will have the same bodily features as the Lord. So bodily features of the Lord means that you will also have 4 hands, and you look like Vishnu, like that. So we see that story of the 4 Kumaras, right? What was the story of 4 Kumaras? Where did they go? They went to the Vaikuntha planets, right? Who did they meet there? When they go to the Vaikuntha planet, anybody remember the story of the 4 Kumaras?
Jai Vijay.
Jai and
Jai
Vijay.
and Vijay. And how were the Jai Vijay looking like?
Trees.
They were looking like what?
Trees.
Like Vishnu.
They were looking like Vishnu, exactly. So that is Sarupya Mukti. So you go to the same planet, or you go and have the same opulences as the Lord, and then Sarupya, Sarishti. And then Sarishti is that you get the same opulences as the Lord. Right? So same opulences. Some people might just, you know, be focusing on that. They like it, you know. They know that God has got so many things. I also want the same thing, but they are devoted to the Lord. So you go there and you'll get the same opulences as the Lord. So you'll live in the Vaikuntha planets. And then Samipya. Samipya is that when you're close to the Lord. So can you tell me of one person who's very close to the Lord?
Radharani.
Radharani, okay. Radharani never falls down, so she doesn't have to go get liberated.
Lakshmi.
Lakshmi is there, okay.
Hanuman.
Brahma. Not Brahma.
Brahma after. No, Brahma in that Brahma's body is not liberated. He's
That one Gopa Mataji. The one Gopa who was here and he went back over there.
Gopa Kumar. Okay, Gopa
Yeah,
Kumar.
Gopa Kumar, yes.
Gopa Kumar, yeah. And close to Krishna. Close to Krishna. You're reading Bhagavad-gita.
Arjun.
Arjuna, right. So that is Samipya, liberation.
How about Mataji? How about the like flute and other?
Samipya. How close can flute be? Others are jealous that you are, you know, Krishna, the nectar from Krishna's lips is pouring into you. For the flute, they say it like that, right? And so sometimes these things can overlap also, right? You are in the same planet. To be a flute And to go close to Krishna, you are samipya as well as salokya, right? You are in the same planet also with him, like that. So devotees don't devotees don't bother about that. So when it comes to mukti, then also there is mukti, which we are talking about, that you get liberated. So most of the times, as Prabhupada also explained, that we are fed up with this body. We are fed up, completely fed up with this body. And we just, know that this body is giving me grief. So we think that if we give up this body, we will get happiness. And Prabhupada says that it's not happiness. You have come to zero. You have negated all your miseries. They are all gone away. So you come to a point of zero, but you are Anandmai, Satchit and Anand. It is my feature to be joyful. And I will not get the joyful by just getting mukti. What you really need is what is called as vimukti. So when we add a V to something, it becomes intensified more. So vimukti are the other 5 muktis that I talked to you about, the salokya, samipya, sarishya, that one, those 4 that I talked. Right? So that is vimukti. That's a mukti at a higher level. And that is the real mukti that we should be achieving for. Because why achieve for a goal which is not complete, which is from where you know that even after achieving the goal, you're not going to be happy, and you'll come down again. So it's a dangerous goal actually to achieve for, because you do so much of work. And in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says that klesho adhiktarastesham, it is very difficult to think about the avyakta form of the Lord, because you have a body. So how to conceptualize, how to think of somebody. But then it's not that they don't find God. He says that they will do that. Sanyam ye indriya gramam sarvatra sambuddhaya te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. So he says that sanyam de indriya gramam, which means that they are controlling niyam, they're controlling all the indriyas, all of them, all the indriyas they're controlling. So it requires a lot of effort, right? The bhaktas also do that. So they are trying to do that, but they are trying to do it artificially. They're thinking I'm God, and I'm going to now control my senses. In contrast to what Priyanka, you said in the morning, that I can't do it. I need God's help in everything. So that's the mood of a bhakta, right? And then when you do that, then God will definitely help you. But it's not that he doesn't help the impersonalists, he helps them as well. So he says that sanyami indriya gamam sarvasya sambuddhaya. They have to also see sarvasya samabuddhiya. We saw some here today. Deepal Mataji read the meaning of the word sama, right? So you have to treat everybody equally, you have to see everybody equally, which means that they are at a higher level, right? They are looking at people as individual souls. And so whether it's a dog, whether it's a cat, whether it's a human being, they are looking at it. So sarvasya sambuddhya, it's all this is difficult. Te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. They will find me, they will prapt me, they will achieve me, right? But which feature of me will they achieve? Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti shabdate. So Brahmeti, that part they will achieve, right? Sarvabhuta hite rata. On top of that, they have to do welfare activities further. So they are doing all that, controlling their senses, seeing everybody equally, doing welfare activities. So they are almost living the same life as we do, except for their concepts are messed up. And because of not following the right path and putting your focus on the right goal, because of that, you will come back. You're achieving halfway through, and then you will come back. Like that. Because, you cannot stay at a place. To stay at a place, you have to be acclimatized. You have to be acclimatized. Like when people start to climb the Mount Everest, right? When they're climbing the Mount Everest, they don't just climb it like that, from ground, from base, which is 0 feet to 29,000 feet or whatever it is, and reach there. What they do is that they go a little bit and then they stay there for some time to get accustomed to the cold and whatever vagaries of nature are there. And they will come down a little bit and then they will go back. Now they're accustomed to this place, then they'll set up the base here. And then they'll go slowly up like that. So you can only go to a place where you are accustomed to doing. Otherwise, you have to come down. If you can't get accustomed to that, you have to come down. So I might merge into the Brahma Jyoti, but it's difficult for me to get accustomed to that because by nature, I like my happiness. And if you can't get your happiness there, you have to come down to your base like that. So that is why Vaishika Babu was saying that the bhaktas will not go for liberation, quote unquote, mukti. They go for vimukti, like that. So here, what Krishna is saying is that that people who do that. So what was the qualification? What was the qualification in 215? What kind of people is he saying will get eligible? You can bring it up.
But not disturbed by happiness and
By
distress.
Happiness and distress, right? The happiness and distress is completely a bodily concept, right? Unless you're going after the transcendental happiness. And he's saying that you are certainly eligible for liberation. So as long as you are thinking about happiness, as long as you are thinking about distress, then what happens is that you are hovering on the material plane, right? So everything that you're doing will be concerned with something material. So if you want to get material happiness, if you're pursuing material happiness, then what are some of the things that we will do? Give me some examples of what we would do to get material happiness. And you can stop sharing it.
Work harder.
You'll work harder at your work, right?
Buy a nice car or house.
Buy a nice car and a house. And will you be happy?
Temporarily.
Temporarily.
Feels like that.
Yes. And so that's a very good point again that Sati Mataji today are full of terminologies. So you said temporary happiness, right? Now, why is temporary happiness not acceptable?
Because we want something eternal. We want eternal happiness.
Why do you want eternal happiness?
Because that is our nature.
Eternal.
Because that's a nature, because we are eternal.
We are eternal.
And Mataji, this temporary happiness, like we bought a car, is coming with a slight flavor of distress also, because now I'm worried that my car shouldn't get scratched, it shouldn't get dirty. I'll be so I'm like getting this stress also about it, so it's not complete happiness.
Yeah. You missed our evening class yesterday, and we covered over 3 types of distress, and we basically talked about what are the real problems of life, right? So right now, the moment you buy a car, the real problem is like, I hope it doesn't get whatever you listed, and somebody shouldn't bash it, somebody shouldn't spray it with paint and things like that, right? So there were 3 types of distresses we said that we will always get.
So Mataji, I have a question. I'm also happy when I do some puja or bhakti. So how is that happiness different from, and I don't want to give up that happiness.
Yeah, very good. And none of us should give up that happiness. It will come naturally to you. That is your nature. That is the soul's nature. And that is the only happiness which is permanent. And because it is not material happiness, when all these acts that you're doing, they are of devotional service, they are not material acts that you do. They are spiritual acts. They are spiritual. They are transcendental. That happiness is a permanent happiness you'll get. And so don't give that up. That's why you are here, right? Why do you get up so early in the morning, which looks like a distress to others? But we still do that, right? Why? Because you get something better. And yesterday I was talking about that Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So just giving up things like that is not going to help you give up. You can only give up lower things only if you find something much better. So you will be able to give up the so-called joy of sleeping and snuggling in the bed and enjoying it in the morning. You'll be able to give up that lower happiness and come to this class or come to any other class, go to another class on spiritualism, and then you'll get even more happiness. You see, case in point. So you never give up that happiness. It is spiritual. It comes naturally. It's not, when you do that, because you are wired like that. So we have to understand this. So we have to let go of the false ego that I have. It says, I am this body. And because of this body and the designations of this body, I might think I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm famous. Like that, we are nothing. We are servants of the Lord. And the moment we understand that we are servants of the Lord, then you will go back and start behaving like a servant. Like Priyanka Mataji in the morning said that, I need Krishna, I need you. They understood it very clearly that cannot do without you, Krishna. And it's such a nice thing to know that there's somebody to take care of you rather than you have to, throw your arms and hands around and try to adjust your life. And Prabhupada gives such a nice example. He says that look at the babies of a monkey and look at the baby of a cat. Okay? So when you see a baby monkey, the baby monkey has to cling to the mother, right? It has to cling with its own hands to the mother. And if the mother jumps, then, he can fall down, and or the mother can shrug him off. And, so he's completely dependent on his grip to be able to grasp to his mom. And you can imagine it's a small baby, the grip might not be that strong, right? As the mom's like that. So that's one way of handling your life. And then, of course, you have to go from one place to another place, one branch to another branch. You just cling on to the mom, and the mom will transport you like that. That's one way. And the second way is that the life of a kitten. When the kitten has to be carried from point one to point B, the kitten doesn't have to do anything. The kitten just lies like that, and the mom comes and grabs it in the mouth and takes it from one place to another place. So that's what the bhakta does. The bhakta says that, you carry me, Krishna, make me your little kitten. I can't do it on my own. When you try to do it on your own, there are so many things that's going to happen. All that I'm asking is that, please help me, and I go and do my devotional service to you. And material opulence, knowledge, and detachment, all these things will come as a concomitant factor. Vyasadeva says, and Narad Muni says that to Vyasadeva in the first canto of Bhagavatam. Clearly says that, if you do devotional service, then these things will naturally come to you, right? So if you remember when we started, Deepal Mataji, you were not there, but when we started having these classes, we started with the prayers, the Gyapti Panchika prayers. And I told all of you there in the class that don't attempt to memorize the prayer.
They will come to you.
Take it as a prayer. This is your prayer, right? You pray to the Lord. You pray to the verses. They will come to you naturally. And I think all of you have memorized that prayer to a certain extent. So if that is the mood, you will get it. What we try to do is we try to pursue happiness. And somebody said that happiness is like a butterfly. Right? The more you get, you want that butterfly. I want that happiness. I want that happiness. You start to run after that butterfly. Now, if you run after a butterfly, what is the butterfly going to do? It's going to think he's going to kill me. And so the butterfly is going to fly away. And you will be just flying behind the butterfly. And you can't fly. So, at some point you have to give up that. But if you sit still, right? If you don't move at all and you sit still, then the butterfly will come and sit on you. Like that. So happiness. So sitting still doesn't mean that you stop doing anything. For us, sitting still means that stop running after material pursuits. And Prahlad Maharaj says that the moment you think about becoming happy, your distress starts immediately. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And if yes, then why? Give me an example.
Planning a vacation.
Planning a vacation. So why would you get distressed by planning a vacation?
Because whenever I plan something, I will have lots of expectations, and it's not necessary that all of them will be fulfilled.
Okay, so yes, that is good, but give me some concrete examples of why planning a vacation is going to become a distress for you.
You have to think about so many different things. Am I getting the best cost? Will I get off from work? Will I get good food? All the arrangement, and then if my flights is not delayed, and I have to plan everything.
Yes, and then do you always get the best deal when you go and buy the
No.
airplane ticket? As soon as you buy your ticket, you come
the
to
next day the price is good.
Yes. As soon as you know that there's another one or somebody else purchased a ticket for much cheaper. right? We have, when we go to Sadhu Sangha every year, we go to North Carolina, and people, you should come with us one year when we're going to have it. It's fantastic 3 days that we have. And so there's a group here in the Silicon Valley, where all those who are going there, they are on that WhatsApp group, and they're discussing, are the dates finalized, and are you on site, are you off site, like that, and things like that. And then comes like, purchasing tickets, and that's it. I just stopped reading that. I stopped going to that WhatsApp group and they start discussing how much did I pay for my ticket. It's like, no. Like I would like to buy my tickets up front, earlier, and then somebody buys it last moment, and they're like $200 cheaper than your ticket.
And the truth is that we go for vacation for 3 days, but we invest 8 days for planning for it, and then anticipating it. And then what happens when we go there is a different thing. Yes, we will enjoy, but then again, when we come back, that hankering, I wish that would have lasted for long.
Yes, there you go. This is the nature of the material world. I mean, yeah. And so, but I think I gave the wrong example of Sadhu Sangha, because even if you go to Sadhu Sangha and the hankering is there, that is a good hankering, right? But try going to Hawaii, right? And this is the material world. In this material world, they're always advertising. They're always advertising that there is something better. As Ashwini Kapoor says it so nicely in the classes, they say, right, so you go on vacation. Where should you go on vacation? Oh, let's go to Venice. Oh, wow, Europe, a European vacation, wow. And then you go to Venice. And so there you're waiting at the airport. And then you're saying, they're advertising like flights that will take you to Hawaii. And like, oh, Hawaii is better? People in Venice want to go to Hawaii? And there is no end to all this. There is absolutely no end.
So Mataji, I remember in one of the Sunday classes long ago, somebody brought up this, they had this realization that actually what we are calling the material happiness is dependent on others, because we get a kind of approval from when we are going to Hawaii, not just that we love the beach in Hawaii more than the beach in Andhra Pradesh, but it's because others say, wow, so this is better. So it was, I like that realization, and it always stayed with me, that when we look at a plant or a flower and we get the happiness, that is the true happiness, because it is not requiring others' approval, but this kind of happiness, like going on vacation or buying a car, has a sense of dependence on others' approval, or like, wow.
Yes, and I would just add to that not only just approval, it is dependent. It is dependent to a certain extent on others. For example, I mean, I feel happy if others like me. How many likes do I get on this class? I'm dependent on people pressing the like button. If they don't press the like button, I'm unhappy. If somebody puts an angry, I'm devastated. I'm ready to commit suicide. And I'm not joking. I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about people, about teenagers who go to Facebook and if they post a picture, and within the next 5 minutes, if they don't get a like, they're like, I hate myself, I'm no good, I'm this. And if somebody writes something nasty about you, then that's it,
Mataji, we are programmed like this since childhood, right? When we were small, and if we try to walk and we fall down, we tell the kid it's bad table, right? Not because you didn't see that the table was there. We tell it is bad table. So we always like it got wired in us, right?
Yeah.
And we do that to our kids as well, not even knowing that what we have taken up and what we have soaked in.
Yes. So it's very important, the atmosphere where you are, how much you soak. And then Rohit was joining us earlier on the call. I don't know if she's still here with us, but he gave a very nice lecture many months ago, and there he said that how much you soak also depends on how long you are there in that environment, right? And as ladies, we can understand that if you, of course, he was giving the example of the nuclear holocaust that we had in Japan, and the people were it affected the people who were there, of course, wherever the bombs fell. within a few miles radius, people were just singed to death. And then beyond that, people were affected by the radiations. And then beyond that, on the timeline, people had defective births, right? So future generations also were getting affected by that, by just being exposed to this. And I was just thinking also that similar thing happens when you're exposed to good things. How much are you exposed to good things like that? And and to that extent, I was saying that as women, we can understand, we cook, and then I should not say as women we understand, because men also cook these days, and I know Suresh Prabhu cooks fantastic. So when you soak your chana, right? When you soak your chana in the water, then the more it soaks in the water, it better it becomes, right? Sometimes we'll say, "वो चने ठीक नहीं भीगे," could not cook it nicely because they were not soaked nicely. So yes, and that kind of and it was. I'm just I'm just recalling that when I had just begun my career, 40 years ago, I think. Then there was so we were being talked about management skills and things like that, and so they were teaching us not to throw blame on others, because as a manager you can have that tendency, right? And I saw that a lot. That it used to happen that the big boss scolds the next in line, and the next in line comes and scolds everybody in the next meeting, and then your manager comes and bashes you left and right, all the whole team, like, "You're good for nothing people, you didn't do that." So it's that the bashing is flowing down at you, instead of thinking and seeing that, why did my team not perform? What is the wrong thing that I did as a manager? Where am I lacking? What guidance did I not give? What leadership did I not perform? Like that. And he said that it really starts from your childhood, when you're very young. And so sometimes, like, a little child will go to the kitchen, and how kids want something, so they are saying, and you're not listening because you're concentrating on cutting, chop, cutting something. And the children will come, and the child will come, and mom is not listening, so they'll pull the mom's they'll pull the mom like that. And then what's going to happen? That you will cut your finger because of the movement. And then the mother turns to the child and says, "See what you made me do." See what you made me do is a classic case of throwing the blame on somebody else, right? You are an adult. Are you not supposed to know? Don't you understand the child's psychology? That if he's asking, that he'll pull. Understand? So keep the knife away, address the child, ask him to go, or do whatever he's wanting you to do, and then come back and concentrate on the job. You have got a sharp object in your hand. Why are you distracted? No. See what you made me do. The child didn't, pick up your hand and made you do. Of course, he's a matter, he's a cause, but not the immediate cause, like that. So yes, a lot that we soak up in our lives, a lot, we can soak up when we are young. So, so the happiness that I was saying, that happiness comes from within. And it is so funny that, sometimes as young kids, when we were young people, as we were more on the bodily concept of life, and always thinking that, that person is very smart, that person is very cool, that person is very beautiful. And sometimes people would pass nasty comments on us and say that, look at that person, how ugly she is, or how ugly he is, but he thinks he's so beautiful. And yes, I mean, there are bodily features. Bodily features can be, very pleasing, or they can be not pleasing. And then, of course, there were people who did not have pleasing bodily features or beautiful bodily features, but yet they thought that they were beautiful, and they lived with that concept, and they were happy. So they had that concept, and so their happiness is coming from inside. Happiness is coming from inside. It is not dependent on somebody else coming and saying that you're beautiful. It is coming from inside. And so that happiness nobody can take away from them, because they are thinking like that. Whereas if you're depending on others to say, like, if you wear a new sari, you put on a new jewelry, you put on new makeup, what I put, and then nobody notices it, and that's it. Our heavens have fallen down. A life is useless. It's better to commit, suicide. What good am I, like that? So yes, Priyanka Mataji, if we depend on others for our happiness, then we're not going to get it. And that is what it is. Like I said a few days ago, that what is satisfaction? Satisfaction is the difference between your expectation and what you get and the reality. The moment reality and expectation are the same, then you're happy. You don't care. Because, for example, like, there are some men who will not, who feel, who will not open their mouth and appreciate their wives. They are wired like that. They have that, that bent of mind. They don't do it. If they don't do it, the day the wife understands it, the day the wife understands it, then her problems are solved. That he just doesn't do it like that. Or for me, when I was married, first in the beginning, if I had to cook something, and so if there was extra salt or no salt, and so my husband would immediately say that, there's extra salt in the food today. And I would like, oh, I'm sorry, and whatever, try to fix it, or by whichever way, or it's not fixable, throw it away, like that. So, and then I will feel bad that, oh, I took so much of time to cook and things like that, and now he's saying there's extra salt in it. And then the same husband, if you cook something really nice, and he would eat it, and I would be like, oh, today I prepared something that he really liked, and I know that this is very tasty because I'm also eating it and I really like it, and I'm waiting for him to say it's good, it's good, it's good, and the words are not coming. And you can imagine what's going inside me: anger, 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 frustration. And now whatever good thing that you are eating, that now that doesn't taste good to you at all because of the mental frame of mind. And then at the end, after he's finished eating everything, he'll say, oh, this was so good. Like that. And I used to fight, and I used to say, how come when it is bad, you immediately tell me? And how come when it is good, you have to eat the last morsel to know that it is good? Like that, right? Till slowly I just, compromise with it, that this is how he's wired, and that I have to wait. I have to wait till the end for him to say that it is good. But, and then, of course, after 20 years of marriage, you don't even do that. You say, oh, fine, who cares? I'm enjoying it. I made it. So yeah, don't be dependent on others for happiness. Even better, don't even run after happiness. Because if it has to come, it'll come. Just as distress comes, happiness also comes on its own accord. We don't have to run after it like that. So, so Deepal Mataji, yeah, whatever happiness you're getting from doing puja, please continue doing that. It's a natural byproduct.
Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, there's a very nice verse. If you can bring it up, it's from Bhagavad-gita 5.19. Suyash Prabhu.
5.19.
5.19, and it talks about that, when you're doing, yeah. Can you read that for us, Deepal Mataji, the translation?
Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman.
Yeah, let's continue with that, with the purport.
Thank you. Equanimity of mind, as mentioned above, is the sign of self-realization. Those who have actually attained to such a stage should be considered to have conquered material conditions, specifically birth and death. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he is elevated to a stage of equanimity through realization of self, he is liberated from conditional life. In other words, he is no longer subject to take birth in the material world, but can enter into the spiritual sky after his death. The Lord is flawless because he is without attraction or hatred. Similarly, when a living entity is without attraction or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into the spiritual sky. Such persons are to be considered already liberated, and their symptoms are described below.
Yeah. So you see, today's verse is also talking about the same thing, that you become eligible for liberation, because the duality comes from material world, right? The material world is full of dualities. In the absolute world, there is no duality. There's no difference between, anger and sorrow. Although there also there will be sorrow, but there's no. It's very difficult for us to conceptualize that. But you don't feel it that way. The feelings are the same. You'll still enjoy. Sorrow also is enjoyed there. Separation is also enjoyed as much as closeness and nearness over there, right? And there's that very famous verse, and I'm just forgetting which one. So maybe one of you can remind me. What is that verse that says Brahmaneva hi gantavya? Whatever people normally use that in prayers. They say that, and if somebody can prompt me on WhatsApp, on Facebook here, there's the one that says that, whatever is offered, whoever is offering, and the process itself, everything is Brahman, everything is spiritual, everything is transcendental. So the essence of that verse is that whatever, when you're doing devotional service, every activity that you're doing as part of the devotional service becomes transcendentalized, which means that if you're cooking food for Krishna, right, the utensils, etc., that you're using, because they're used for the purpose of serving Krishna, they also get a transcendental quality, right? What to talk about the person who is engaged in that. And that's why we use the word tadiya. And tadiya is supposed to be very respectable thing. And tadiya is anything that is engaged in the service of the Lord is known as tadiya. So even your car can become a tadiya. If you are using your car to transport books, if you are putting Srimad Bhagavatam sets in your car and taking it from one other place to another place, it becomes tadiya, because Srimad Bhagavatam is the personality of God. God comes in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam in Kali Yuga, like that. So no wonder you feel so happy. Yeah, thank you so much. 424. Yeah. Yeah, can you give us the translation for that? Prabhu? So yes, Prabhu, give it to us.
Yeah, can I read?
Yes, please.
A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature.
Right? Yeah.
Should I read purport, Mataji?
Yeah, why not? Yes, read.
How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere, and yet he has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness as set forth here in the Gita. This process is generally known as yajna or activities, sacrifices, simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. The more the activities of material world are performed in Krishna consciousness or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. The word Brahman means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body are called Brahmajyoti, his spiritual effulgence. Everything that exists is situated in that Brahmajyoti. But when the Jyotir is covered by illusion, Maya, or sense gratification, it is called material. This material vial can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. Thus, the offering for the sake of Krishna consciousness, the consuming agent of such an offering or contribution, the process of consumption, the contributor, and the result are all combined together, Brahman or the absolute truth. truth. The absolute truth covered by Maya is called matter. Matter, dovetailed for the cause of the absolute truth, regains its spiritual quality. Krishna consciousness is the process of covering the illusory consciousness into Brahman, or the Supreme. When the mind is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it is said to be in samadhi or trance. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yajna or sacrifice for the absolute. In that condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the performer or leader of the performance, and the result or ultimate gain, everything becomes one in the absolute, the Supreme Brahman. That is method of Krishna consciousness.
There you go. So no wonder you feel that way, Deepal, because you're doing transcendental activities. So that is why this is the best investment. This is the best thing, right? Because it's not going to finish also. We'll read in the 40th verse. When we come to the 40th verse in the second chapter, we'll read that. And then I'll also like to welcome many more devotees who joined us, starting with Brihat Mridanga Das Prabhu, then with Pranam, and then Nij Dham Prabhu from down south, Chaitanya Mataji from India, Kamna Mataji, oh, she's from Iowa. I'm so glad to have you. She's my dear God sister. And then Nij Dham Prabhu, yes, he also pointed out to Bhagavad-gita 4:24 on Facebook. Yeah, bingo, we are on the right verse there. Any other thoughts? Any other things you want to discuss, bring out? Khyati Mataji is back here with us. Or should we call it a day? I'm just being cognizant of the time. It's 8 o'clock. Well, Krishna arranged it like that, right? I was in the beginning, I just said that, see, this is our plan and Krishna's plan, right? My plan was that I have to stop the class at 7 o'clock today because we are using a new system there in the other class that I go, and the person who's leading the class will not know that I have joined, and they have to give me permission. So the person will be fully engaged in teaching the class, and there could be somebody saying, I want to let me in, let me in. And so one is that you can't be let in. Second is I have to then call somebody and say, please let me in. And they will announce Shraddha Mataji is standing there outside the class at 7:15. Class starts at 7. So I was just thinking, okay, I'll go on time to the class. But see, Krishna had another plans. Krishna said, no, you have to do this. So this is like, surrender. Okay, whatever Krishna did, that's fine. We'll just go and do that. So.
And our desire was to hear from you. Longer.
Could be, yeah, could be that, somebody had a desire there.
Yesterday, in the 10th chapter, Arjuna says, right, the more I hear, more I want to hear.
Exactly. Yeah. It is the nature, Hari Anant, Hari Katha Ananta. And there's nothing else that's going to give you happiness. Nothing else. I mean, this is so amazing that once you come into Krishna consciousness and you realize, then so many of the things in your life stop mattering, stop bothering you. I don't have this, I don't have that, and you understand the entangling nature of the material world. It's a tar baby, right? I was talking about a tar baby. You touch it and then your hands are stuck to the tar baby. You can't move away. It is very, very entangling. Very, very entangling. Try to build something. Try to make a small amend in some portion of your house. Has anybody ever tried to do that? Like have a new shower, have a new shower area in the bathroom, and you call the guys who fix the showers, and then what happens?
They disassemble everything.
They will disassemble everything, and then what do they discover? It started with just, I need to replace a shower head, right?
And it goes on and on there. We should do this and that and that.
He'll open, then he'll say, oh, the pipe behind, oh, this is all rusted. I think you should get the pipes. Oh, how do I get the pipes? Oh, you have to remove this covering from the wall because the pipes are embedded in it. Okay, how much is it? And then he will start to dismantle and all that. And then you'll go and purchase whatever. And then while you are fixing this, then you'll say, oh, let's also fix the faucet because now the new shower head that you're getting doesn't match the faucet, right? And then so you go and purchase that also. You get, and then after he removes all those things, he stops coming. So now you have an open bathroom like that. This is the nature of the material world. And we just learn, if you learn how to tolerate, and that's what it is saying, yam hina vyatantete, is saying that, do not get distressed by these things that happen. So what if the shower cap and the head cap and the tap faucet cap handle, whatever, does not match? How does it matter? Does it affect the water that's coming through it? No. So then we learn how to do little. And I was just thinking yesterday about this, that because I got a letter from my homeowner association saying that they had to pay a big water bill, huge water bill, because of this shelter in place. They were saying all of you are sitting at home and all of you are flushing the toilets so many times. And I was like, oh, wow, yes, they're true. I mean, for me, it didn't matter because I always stay at home, but then others, like they're all staying at home. So in the beginning, one would have thought that, oh, shelter in place is good because now I'm not going to office. So no petrol charges, no gas charges to pay for my car, right? So I'm saving money. No, your homeowner association, when it sends you a letter saying that they had to pay more, this is just a polite way of saying that we are going to bump up the homeowner association cost for you, right? So you adjust over here and then you feel the burden over there. This is what it is. We are just moving from this place to that place. We are adjusting. Okay, this is not good. Oh, this hurts. Okay, let me adjust. This might be better. After some time, this starts hurting. Like that. We constantly adjusting ourselves in this material world, but you're not going to get it. Why? Because it's against your nature. Why? Because you are from South India and we are trying to feed you chola bhatura. It's against your constitution. I want my idli sambar, This is who I am. I want that. And I will be unhappy till you give it to me, till I get it. And so you are very, very lucky. You're very amongst the fortunate few people. We are among the fortunate few people in this material world. But although we might appear to be in minority in this material world, and sometimes that can put negative thoughts in us that, I'm in the minority, I'm in the losing side and things like that. No, we are actually on the side of the winners. Because of all the total creation that God has created, only 1/4 of that, the Jiva souls, fall down. Approximately 1/4 are here in the material world. So 3/4 are there, up there in the Vaikuntha planets. They are engaged in devotional service. We are just joining the winning party over there. So don't ever feel that you are you are with the minority. You are actually with the majority. If you're putting a tilak on your forehead and you're thinking, oh, hardly anybody puts a tilak, no. So many people in the Vaikuntha planet have got tilak on their forehead like that. So good. Anything else? Welcome, Priya Shraddha-devi Dasi, Barsha Mataji, and Vijay Lakshmi Nair Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, it's past 8:01. Khyati came up. I think she's got something in her hand. Have you got something to say? She's got tea, sorry.
No, it's a turmeric water.
Turmeric water, yeah. I thought some herbal thing she's having. That's good to have, yeah. A good thing to have. Okay. So, so we have to remember the main thing that our verse today is saying is that, you just try to be same in whether there's happiness or distress, try to be equipoised in both of them, right? And don't dabble too much with the matter, because if you start dabbling with the matter, then your consciousness will be, very materialistic in nature. On the other hand, if we dabble with the spiritual, more with the spiritual, then you will be with the spiritual, and then liberation is going into that consciousness, right? That I'm not this body. And how will you get, because this verse seemed to say that if you tolerate this and that, right? And Krishna says in the previous verse also that Martha Spashastu Konteya Sitoshun Sukha Dukkha Agam Apaniyo Anityas Tam Titikshasva Bharata. So he's saying that just learn how to tolerate. So how does toleration make me eligible for liberation? How does tolerating something in the material world make me eligible and put me into a spiritual consciousness? Is And the way it works is that how can you tolerate anything material? How can you tolerate anything material without bringing in the concept of spiritual in it? How can you tolerate that? You cannot. If somebody is rude to me or I'm having pain in the body, how can I tolerate the pain? Pain is real, right? The Mayavadi philosophers might say that this world is Jagan Mithya, right? Jagan is Mithya. It is all imagination. Okay, then try walking through a wall. You will realize that this is real. It is real. It is there. It is temporary, but it is real. So we are in this material world. We do suffer all these things. So for us to get over, for me to stay equipoised in a situation when I'm facing one of the dualities, is to bring in the spiritual. And because the process of toleration involves bringing in the spiritual, that is why you become eligible to go in that route, because you have taken the right path. Instead of trying to find a material solution to a material problem, you are trying to tolerate it by bringing in a spiritual solution. If people are rude to me, I'm going down to the spiritual aspect and saying that, nate eva ham jatu nasham, that concept that the soul never dies and the soul was never born. So then I can bring in the concept of karma without accepting the fact that soul lives forever. How can I bring in the concept of karma, right? So it's a continuum. The same soul is going through different kinds of bodies, and then I say, all right, in my previous body I did something to him, and now he's coming back to me, or she's coming back to me, like that. So to be able to tolerate these onslaughts of material nature in us, we have to take repose in the spiritual. And since we are doing that, then you become eligible, kalpate, you become eligible for liberation, right? And suddenly for you have spent an hour and a half or more this morning with Krishna Katha, it makes you eligible. Definitely, you're on the right path. Just being on the right path makes you eligible. Just using the right path. But if you have to go to Bombay, you have to buy a ticket to go to Bombay. If you have purchased a ticket to go to Delhi, then you can't go to Bombay with that ticket, right? To go to Bombay, you have to be up on a plane that's going to Bombay. To go to New York, you have to be on a plane that's going to New York, like that. So thank you for joining the right plane. You're taking Krishna's transcendental plane.
Thank you, Mataji, for being pilot of it.
Well, it's a team thing. It's a team thing. It's not a pilot,
As good as like a pilot, right? Otherwise, what's the destination?
Yeah, that's good. That's true. You need a pilot to guide you. Yes, I do, and I'm fortunate and that I got this opportunity to pilot, and I'm thankful to you for accepting me as a pilot. Right? You all have a choice of shutting it off and disappearing from Zoom call and saying, "Bah, we don't like it." And then, of course, there are pilots of pilots of pilots of pilots. Like, my pilot, who's guiding me? My spiritual master is guiding you. Who's guiding him? Prabhupada is guiding him, and so on and so forth, till Krishna becomes the supreme pilot, right? He's the one who guides all that. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for having faith in me, and thank you for coming every day. I mean, your attendance boosts me up, because then I feel happy that I'm surrounded by so many devotees who are interested in Krishna Katha from different walks of life, from different cities, from different countries, even like that, different time zones. So keep that thought today with you, and then we will continue today in the evening with 5 o'clock. Krishna Katha by His Grace Vaishya Shikhar Das Prabhu will be broadcast on ISKCON of Silicon Valley's Facebook page, his own Fan the Spark Facebook page. And then we'll continue the Krishna Katha tomorrow morning at 6:30, where we will do 5.16, which is the next verse in Bhagavad-gita. Not 5.16, 2.16. Yeah, thank you, Kathy. 2.16. We'll do that. All right.
Thank you, Mataji.
Vanchikalpatarubhyascha
Kripa sindhu vevacha patitanam
Fantastic. Now comes the most difficult part, is to end the meeting for everybody. So have a fantastic, fantastic day. Enjoy your life thoroughly in Krishna consciousness.